welcome in to Extreme Talk, presented by Complete Real Estate, where experience and integrity matters. Thank you so much for tuning in on this Sunday afternoon. We've got some hardware handed out this weekend. We're going to talk about it. We've got some more hardware to get handed out this upcoming weekend, and then we'll talk to some coaches here on the show, and obviously on social media you saw Coach Lyle Barkman from the Fort Wayne Crusaders, or King Crusaders, or Tri-State Crusaders. The Fort Wayne Crusaders is kind of a all engulfing. And then we'll also talk to Coach Greg Ferguson from down at Southwest Christian in Arkansas, the HCAA semifinal playoffs this past weekend. We'll recap those, and then we'll talk to him, and we'll talk about the championship game coming up next weekend in the conference. And we will also debut the brand new the bracket for this year's NHSA National Championship Tournament. It's a good one. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun down in Florida. Let's start recapping some of these championship games that happened. Obviously, we're going to talk first about the Friday night games that were played. And the first one that was it was going on at the same time as the game we were at, but it was the Lighthouse Warriors and Evangel Christian for the ACSC Championship. And these two teams met earlier in the season at Evangel. Evangel got the win there. Both teams went through the season. That was Lighthouse's only loss. Evangel was unbeaten, 30-game win streak. And early on, it was close, and then Evangel just started pulling away, and they end up getting the win, 41-14. So a big win for Evangel Christian. And if I'm not mistaken, this is their second consecutive championship. Yes, they lost to Ezekiel in 2021. So this is their second consecutive championship, and then it would be, I know Ezekiel had a whole stretch in there where they were kind of rocking the boat. Let's see. I think they won it in 2020 is what it looks like. So, yeah. So, congratulations to Evangel Christian on getting the win. I know it's their second consecutive. Everybody sees, five straight national championships. Well, there's conference championships too, and so a big win for them. But run through a couple of these stats real quick. Kemp Swords, 13 of 23, 141, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He also ran 13 times for 117 yards and a touchdown. He was their leading rusher in terms of receiving. Leading receiver would have been Caleb Austin, the senior. 2 catches, 52 yards, and 2 touchdowns, so a very efficient night for the young man. And then in terms of tackles, Hayden Black with 9. He led the team. 9 total tackles, 4 solo, 5 assists. You had Cole Romano, the senior, with 3 sacks, and then Zion Thompson, 5 passes defensed. So really led the team in that regard. And a big win for Evangel Christian. Congratulations to them. And we'll talk about them a little bit later on in the show. The game that we were at Friday night, the CFA championship game, is the number 4 seed, and the ACSC was number 1 seed versus number 2 seed. This one was the number 4 seed versus the number 3 seed, with Tuscaloosa Christian getting the upset win over Jacksonville, Russell getting the upset win over Cornerstone Christian. And so these two teams battled it out on Friday night, and it was so much fun to get to do a game like that. Russell ends up winning 30-22 in overtime. That's right. Game went to overtime. It was, like I said, it was a lot of fun. 2 teams just battling back and forth. And I've got some of the stats here for Russell Christian. Aiden Burns, their senior quarterback, 11 of 16, 148, and a touchdown. He did throw an interception, but he also ran 16 times for 121 and 2 touchdowns. So that young man leading his team, without question. You also had Ty Jones, the junior running back, 26 carries, 110 yards, and a touchdown for him. So both those young men really going off in that game. They spread the ball around a lot. You did have Colton Frapp, the sophomore, 3 catches, 59 yards, and Carter Simmons had their touchdown catch. In terms of tackles, Ty Jones all over the field on Friday night. 17 tackles, 14 solo tackles. Also had a tackle for loss. And Aiden Burns actually had 2 interceptions, little quarterback on quarterback crime. And then Matthew Williams had an interception for the Warriors as well. So big, big win there for Russell Christian. They have won their 7th consecutive conference championship. Congratulations to them. Just keeping the streak going. And for Tuscaloosa Christian, it was a heartbreaker. It really was. They had the lead at the start of the fourth quarter, 22-14. And, yeah, that was tough. That was a tough one. So, let's jump to yesterday. A couple games played. We had one over in the SCEC, and Freedom Cowboys, Tennessee Heat, going at it. They're at Zion Christian. Very hyped up game, and I'll tell you what, Freedom Cowboys came in and they handled business, 36-12. It was the Jalen Venter show, and all year he's been great. He was voted all-conference running back, and he played a little quarterback. He's played a little quarterback, but he just went off on yesterday afternoon. Just had himself. I think he scored every Freedom touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, so back-to-back championships for Freedom. Big win for them. I don't have the stats pulled up just at the moment, but great win for them. And then last night, you had 2 more championship games being played. You had one in White House, the TSI-AA Conference Championship. Conference Championship, not state championship. Conference Championship. And Franklin Christian Academy, Christian Community going at it. And very close game throughout the game. FCA pulled ahead. CCS kept up. And there was a big turning point in the fourth quarter, and I really would like to get some more clarification on this. It was 4th and maybe 15, and FCA was about to punt, and all of a sudden there's a personal foul, no other explanation, just personal foul called against Christian Community, and it gave FCA a first down, and they were able to go score off of that penalty. So I'm very curious what the purpose of that call was. Still working on getting clarification on it, but that right there was the moment because FCA was able to go down and score. And so big a turning point in the game for them there. So congratulations to the Falcons on winning their conference championship. I'm assuming they will not be in Florida for the 2nd year in a row after winning the title, and I'm not going to lie, it's a little disappointing. It's disappointing to see a team that good not want to go play other teams on the same level. I know Evangel's going to be there, and Evangel beat them, and maybe I don't know the feeling about playing Evangel down there, but you got the Tennessee Heat down there that, they've wanted to play them. You've got the Pac Panthers down there. They've never played Pac. Pac's having a very good season. They'll play for their championship next Saturday, not this Saturday, next Saturday. You got Fort Wayne King Crusaders, who nobody's played here in the South. So several matchups they could have, and it's a little disappointing. I'm not going to lie, but maybe they'll win a championship in basketball. Anyways, so congratulations to the Falcons on that, and congratulations to the Colts on a good season as well, and to the Tennessee Heat and Tuscaloosa Christian and Lighthouse Warriors. On great seasons as well, making it to the championship game. A lot of teams don't do that for a long time, so congratulations to them. And up in Ohio, it was Holgate High School Toledo Christian playing out of the Northern 8 football conference, playing for that championship. And Toledo Christian, man, they handled business, 46-6, the win for them. And if I'm not mistaken, earlier this season, the two of them played, and that was Holgate's only loss of the year was to Toledo Christian, 20-14. So you thought, okay, maybe this could be a close one. Nah, not close. So congratulations to the Eagles on winning the Northern 8 championship. And, they're another team. Hate to see that they won't be in Florida. There's some really good competition that they could play down there. Really hate to see it. Same for Russell. I wish Russell was down there. I mean, these champions that finish their season before Florida, it's wild that they don't want to go play down there. that they wouldn't give their athletes that opportunity. That basketball is so important that you'd rather go play basketball. Again, maybe they'll win a championship. Who knows? The other games we're going to run through real quick because we've got our interview coming up at 4:20. In the HCAA, you know what? We'll run through that. We'll run through this in a little bit. We're going to bounce back to the AISA. 2 playoff games in that conference. Evangel Christian Montgomery and North River Christian. And Evangel Christian ends up getting the win in that one. If I'm not mistaken, I think they beat North River. No, they lost to North River 32-28 the first time they played. So Evangel gets their revenge on North River. And this side, it's in the playoffs. Want to run through their stats real quick. Their quarterback, Mickey Williams, 11 of 17, 237, 5 touchdowns. DJ Mack, 22 carries, 261 yards, and 4 touchdowns. They had Tobias McElmore, 2 catches, 84 yards, and a touchdown. So just absolutely went off in this game. And congratulations to these young men on the big win. In terms of defense, let's see. Looks like DJ Mack and Jaden Williams were tied for tackles to 8 total. And then Williams had a tackle for loss. Desi Stovall, the junior, had 2 sacks on the day. Hang on, my laptop's wanting to mess up on me. 2 sacks on the day, yep. And then Jaden Davis had a forced fumble. So big win for them. And if I'm not mistaken, let me see if I can pull up the playoff bracket for them. Yeah, they'll go on to play Cornerstone Christian Columbiana. But like I said, we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Let's bounce over to Meadowview Christian and Southern Prep. Meadowview got the 1 win this year, but they were struggling a little bit. And kind of went back and forth with Southern Prep. Southern Prep, trying to make it a ball game. 82-56 final score in that one. 128 points scored between the two teams. Kevin Mason, 26 of 35, 690 yards and 11 touchdowns. Setting. Let me pull up the text real quick. I don't want to misquote it. So he broke a couple Alabama state records for high school football. 11 touchdown passes in a game, 12 total touchdowns in one game, 696 passing yards in a game, and then total yards 753. So Kevin Mason having an outstanding junior season there for the Fighting Rangers. Their offense was just throwing the ball over the field. They didn't run it one time. I take that back. They ran it 3 times. 1 was a touchdown. Then it was the quarterback. Nobody else ran the ball. Caleb Cole, 9 catches, 263 yards, and a touchdown. Josiah Anderson had 7 catches, 139 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Nathan Johnson had 3 touchdowns. And then Kendarian Robinson had 2 touchdowns himself. In terms of defense, it's going to be Anderson leading the team in tackles. So, big win for Southern Prep. They will move on to take on Springwood. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Right now, though, I'm going to go ahead and get my guest queued up because I'm running just a hair behind. Let's see.
Hello, this is Leo.
Joining me now is the head coach of the Fort Wayne King Crusaders, Coach Lael Barkman. Coach, I appreciate you taking the time to join me.
Hey, thank you for having us. Exciting
Absolutely.
times.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And for those that aren't familiar with the Fort Wayne Crusaders and yourself, let's get everybody familiar with y'all. Let's talk a little bit about the history of the program and what's been happening the last couple seasons, and then maybe a little bit about yourself in terms of your coaching setup, coaching career.
Yeah. Fort Wayne Kings Crusaders, I believe, are a 12-year-old program. Um, we had um, a local father that played in a local public school and just wanted his sons to play after homeschooling. Wanted them to be able to play the game of football, and ran into some not local, but Indiana high school, or not high school, but homeschool teams, and said, "Hey, I think we can do that." And with great vision from Lynn Swing, he founded the program.
Okay.
Out of that, I was asked to come and assist. I had coached at a local high school here for 9 years, but I'd gotten so busy as a pastor that I had to pull out. Well, they begged a couple times, and I said, "Sure, I'll come help." And after about 5 seasons and evolution, I ended up as the head coach here.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, it seems like you guys are giving young men there in Indiana a great chance and an opportunity to get to play high school football. Maybe some that wouldn't have that opportunity. I want to give you a chance to talk about some of the young men on your team that, for those that don't know, there's a reason Coach Barkman's on the show today, and we'll tell you a little bit about it later on in the show. But I want to give you a chance to talk about some of these young men that have stepped up this season and either been leaders that you were expecting or maybe unexpected leaders.
you know, um, I can't say enough about our senior class, and we had been an 11-man program for years and ran out of personnel.
Right.
I looked at it. I said, you know what? Unless we go 8-man, there's the program just can't exist. We can't pull enough players.
And what year was that?
That was 3 years ago.
Gotcha.
We
Gotcha.
3 and 4 years ago we were 0-10 and 0-9,
Wow.
and competing against the GleeCac, who also comes down there to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
And winning breeds success. We went to 8-man, and some of the GleeCac people said, "We'll play you. We'll play 8-man. We just love playing you guys. You guys have a class program." We had, and it's so hard because we pull from so large a region, and we have a kid now that drives 2 hours to practice every practice, and
Wow.
just the dedication and commitment. But in the middle of that, we had 3 kids. We have a core of 3 kids that hung together with the program from seventh grade to now they're seniors. And
Wow. Yeah.
with a total of 7 seniors, on a team of 20 players, that's a large nucleus.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
we are just so pleased. I'll be honest with you. I've coached since 1992. I've never coached a leader like our quarterback now. And man, you think of him leaving the program, had him for the last 6 years, and to watch
Wow.
this kid Corbin White, who's a leader extraordinaire. I can't wait to see what he does with life. I can't wait to see what he does in as a coach. I believe he'll be a coach, and I can't wait to see what he'll be as a man of God.
For sure.
In
Yeah.
as a leader in the church, and then our center, or actually he's not our center this year, is our left tackle this year. Been a starter at center for 3 years, moved him to the left tackle this year. Just a phenomenal young man. And then we have a wide receiver that is just a tremendous. Um, he changed the face of our program. He came to us. He had gotten in some difficulty, his parents legal difficulty, and his parents heard about us and said, "Hey, would you take this young man under your wing?" And we did. And what a job he's done. And he really has been a game changer for us. He's a tremendous wide receiver. And then we have a lot of freshmen on the team that have contributed greatly,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just excited.
Man, I don't know what you guys are feeding those boys up there, but if you haven't looked at their roster, they've got a 6'5", 260-pound freshman, freshman,
Yeah,
6'2", 165. There's not a way, but one of the your offensive linemen is 6'3". Coach, what are y'all feeding these
you
boys
know,
up here? And I noticed two of them are brothers, so maybe it's just a family thing. But
you know, we hit the jackpot. These kids moved in from Oklahoma. We call their nicknames are Boomer and Sooner. So the sophomore's Boomer, and the freshman is Sooner. Both red-headed kids, and a lot of spunk in them. And they're, of all things, they're homeschoolers. Their dad played on an 8-man program out in Oklahoma, and a
wow,
friend of theirs at their church said, "Hey, we have our kids play football up here." And so they joined last year as a eighth grader and a freshman. And they walk onto the fields. How old are those kids?
no,
Well,
no, hang on.
there's
I was looking at for some reason I was looking at last year's roster. I forgot to add. You also have a 6'4", 285, a 6'8", 240, 6'1", 230. Coach, there's coaches that dream of having one kid this big. You have an NFL offensive line
I'm telling you, the sad truth
and
is
defensive line.
the 6'8" kid is not coming.
Oh
He
man.
he goes to a local school, Christian school that doesn't have football.
Yeah.
First year playing, and I'm telling you, I looked at him at our banquet Friday night. And I looked at his mom. I said, he missed his calling. I know his coach won't let him come because of basketball, and he has just started to tear it up, and it breaks our
Man.
heart. So yeah, never. I mean, one of the big reasons we went to 8-man is because you can't hide a 5'10", 145-pound wide receiver in the line. You
Yeah.
can hide some people in the line, but you can't hide that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
of all things, this year we had enough linemen that we could have played 11-man, but we certainly don't want to jump in and out.
Right.
So
Right. Well, and with 20 guys too, I do have to, give you guys, you and your coaches and the administration props because there's a lot of programs with that size. Even with only 20 guys, you'd go, someone would go, hey, yeah, we could play 11, man. And to me, it seems like you guys are putting the safety of your kids first and not
yes,
putting them through that, having to play 11 man with only 20 guys on the side, on the team. You'd only have
right,
9 guys on the sideline. So for you guys to put the safety and health of your players first,
yes.
that's something that a lot of people could learn from. So props to you guys for doing that. And
Well,
it seems
thank
like
you.
it's
And
been a successful season.
it has been a phenomenal season. The last 3 seasons have just been phenomenal. We went from the 2-0-10 and 0-9 years to all of a sudden we're starting out. We play the first 2 games, start out 0-2. We go out to Ohio to play a public high school, and it looked like we were going that way again. And I running backs in, looked them right in the eye, and I said, "Look, you're good. You've been good, but it's time to go to the next level."
Yep.
They're not with the team anymore, and they took it to heart, and we ended up beating that team 51-6. And
Wow.
that was the trajectory. And I look at that little moment of speaking to these guys. I look at that as the moment that turned us around, and we ended up going 8-3 that year. And it, all of a sudden, like I said, winning breeds success, and that brought some new kids out. They brought friends out, and I'm just so pleased. Obviously, we're looking to go back to 11-man. We hope to, but we made the difficult decision to go down to 8-man football to build the program, and
Exactly.
it has done that beautifully.
Well, and I think 8 man is a perfect opportunity to do one of two things, like you guys are doing: either rebuild your program, which several teams here in the South have done. They've made the move, built it back up to the point where kids are excited about football. Because when you're in 11 man, you're losing quite a bit. It's hard to keep excitement around the program. You come down to 8,
Mm-hmm.
and then you build the program back up. Kids are excited about football again, and then you make the move, and you build a lot of momentum. Or if you're a startup program, it's a great way to get your program going and really build
Right.
some confidence. But either way, it's and it's not easy for sure. I mean, I'm sure you had your bumps in the road
Yes, we have.
with the game, but in terms of this year, your only loss was to a team that played for their championship last night.
Yes.
So you got to
Right.
feel good about the way your season has gone so far this season.
We feel really good. We do wish we had a few more competitive games. We played them to be give you a little bit more backdrop on that team. Last year, they played for this championship in Ohio and won it.
Right, right.
And they did not graduate anybody. They
Wow.
lost a kid to transfer, so all the kids were back, and we lost a very very key player, and plus a kicker, and so we went out there, and it was the score was a lot, or it was a lot closer than the score indicated. We lost 21-8, I believe, and it was a heartbreaker because we have never beaten them on their field.
Right,
And our
right.
seniors said, we want to go there, we want to beat them on their field, and just had some difficult breaks along the way, and but here we are, and in a position to hopefully compete heartily for a national championship in the homeschool 8-man.
Absolutely. Well, and the way that the tournament is set up, well, we have a bracket we're going to release here a little bit later in the show, but the opportunity for you guys to come down and play some of these teams for the first time, it seems like you guys, maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like 8-man in maybe in Ohio or Indiana, and then 8-man in the South. It seems like it's going to be a little bit different speed. Do you anticipate um, any issues, adjusting to the speed of the game? Do you think you guys maybe have an advantage? And then if there is a difference, what kind of adjustments are you and your staff going to have to make?
Well, we just got the film today. As a matter of fact, I was watching film when you called.
Oh man, look at
Uh,
me. If you guys lose Saturday, I will personally feel responsible.
no, no. But I look at these Evangel kids, and it looks to me like they've won the last 5 national championships. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And two
Great googly
and two
wooglies, and
and two of their conference championships. They won it Friday night.
I'm looking at a long, tall, rangy group of boys, gentlemen that know how to play the great game of football.
Yeah.
Honestly, don't just having watched a little bit, I could see they're fast. I see they're very, very fundamentally sound, spread the field. And one of the things we do here, we play on a 42-yard field rather than the 53-yard,
Right.
and that's interesting. That's going to take a little bit more air out of the lungs.
Right. Right. Well, if I'm not
um,
mistaken, I think the field at their home field, I think that is a 40. If I'm not
okay,
mistaken, I think that is a 40. Now there are some 8-man teams, and I'm not. Don't quote me on this, but I believe the tournament will be played on a full size. But I think
that's what
a
he
lot.
told me.
Yeah, I think a lot of these teams do play on a 40 by 80. It's kind of varies conference to conference in terms of, because some of the teams have to rent their fields too.
Gotcha.
So sometimes they're not able to make that adjustment. But yeah, I mean it seems like it'll be a little bit of an adjustment.
It really will. And of course, I look at them, and obviously one of the adjustments that's going to be pretty tough for us is it looks like they have 40 some kids, and we're coming down there with 18. So
Wow. Yeah.
that's going to be something that we have to adjust to, and pray and get some get some help from above as well,
Well,
right?
and in fairness, you can only put 8 on the field at a time.
That's right.
Now you
That's
can
right.
now you can have multiple 8 on the field at a time. but
Yeah.
you can only put 8 on the field at a time. Now, I did notice, and something I wanted to clarify, your Max Prep schedule has several varsity opponents. Were those conference opponents, or
No,
who were those
we are
teams?
not in a conference.
Gotcha,
We,
gotcha.
we last year we had been a part of the 8-man league in Ohio, and this year they were vying to get that OHSAA sanctioned,
Right.
and we had known that when that happens that we're going to have to leave and just play them. So that's who we played, two of their teams this year on our schedule.
Gotcha.
So then I was contacted by the Snyder, Fort Wayne Snyder head coach. They're the number one team in Division 5 here in Indiana. That's the largest division. And he had come out to watch us play Fort Wayne Blackhawk. And he said, Coach, I need to talk to you. So we had a meeting. He said, I've just been so impressed with your team, and I want you to help us charter the Indiana 8-man program. Would you be a part of
Wow.
that? So this year we played the Indiana Public School. They are looking to build an 8-man division in the state of Indiana, and so with that in mind, they asked us to help charter that. So that's what we've done this year.
That is awesome. That is great.
It's a neat story. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I know 8-man's growing there in Illinois and Ohio, and obviously Michigan's got a strong 8-man presence.
Yeah.
But love to see it. Love to see it move up there, and I think that's a little bit of the difference between 8-man and maybe the Midwest and the North is there are way more public schools playing it.
Hmm.
You still have some private schools and a few homeschool outfits, but like here in the South, it's mainly private schools and homeschools. So,
Okay.
but I feel like and you might maybe I'm wrong, but with you guys playing some public schools and seeing the athletes, it seems like those athletes, um, are they how do they compare to maybe an athlete from a Christian school or a homeschool program, at least in that area when it comes to 8-man?
Well, one of the things that you battle with, we have a weight room here, but when you're drawing kids from 2 hours to probably an average of 20, 25 minutes away, you can't just have the kids come to lift through the day like they do as a school program.
Right.
And then also you don't have the kids coming off, or excuse me, out of the school when the bell rings, go out to the field house, lift for the next hour, then we'll hit the practice field.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's difficult. And then we have 3 days of practice a week. And so when you go up against those public schools, last year we lost to two of the public schools there in Ohio, Toledo Christian, who won the state championship, and Holgate
Yeah. Yeah.
and the others. I would say though, with this core of seniors we have matched up fairly well with them. Um, just looking on film, this Evangel Christian looks a lot like that Holgate team that we played.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
just across the board, tall, rangy, twitchy guys.
Well, and obviously Toledo Christian having a great season, won the championship last night, but
Hmm.
I kind of wish they could have made the trip down as well. I know it's quite a haul for quite a haul for them. But it'd be awesome. It'd be interesting to see them match up against some of the teams from down here.
They're a
I think,
nice team, I'm
yeah.
telling you.
Well, yeah, and there a couple of their kids, one of their kids, maybe one, maybe two, got a chance to go to Gatlinburg in December and play in the All American game. They have an 8-man All American game, and
Oh my.
yeah, they've been doing it for juniors and seniors, and then this year they're doing one for juniors, one for seniors, and then they have a Rising Stars game that's an 11-man format, and they have 8-man and 11-man players come together and play each other in an 11-man format in this game, freshmen and sophomores. So it's a lot. They've done some great things there at Rocky Top Sports World. But um,
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's
no,
awesome.
it's been great. It's been going on for I think the first one was in 2019, and it's grown for sure. In terms of the trip down, I wanted to ask you about it. Obviously you guys have quite a trip from Indiana, and
Hmm.
you guys are on the north side of Indiana, so it's not like you're Evansville or something. It's a little ways up there.
Yeah.
How do you manage that trip, or do you guys have plans already? Is it what are some things that you and your staff can do to keep those guys good to go?
Well, one of the things we really want to do that's huge to us is to maintain the family atmosphere. So we rented a bus and coming down,
That's awesome.
leaving at
Yeah.
3 o'clock on Friday, and hopefully get down there by 6, 7 o'clock and check in, rest up, get to our rooms, get some good rest for the next day. And then a lot of family support, families caravanning with us, some going down ahead, getting things ready, and
Nice.
just
Nice.
so appreciative of everybody. The program has a tremendous amount of just family support. We don't have a lot of money, but we got a lot of moral support, and just it's incredible.
Well, and thankfully, you guys don't have to play until 3 o'clock on Saturday, so
Right,
the
right.
that the rest aspect of that maybe helps out a little bit. Maybe playing a little bit closer to the game time you guys
Hmm.
are used to. Last question for you, Coach. With you guys coming down, going down to the tournament in Florida, when you come back to Ohio, and depending on how you do down there, and you chartering this conference next year, do you think it do you hope that it maybe makes teams want to put you on their schedule, even if they're not joining the conference, and say, hey, we want to play a really good football team that has that went and did a really cool thing last year? Or what's the end goal in terms of building the program for coming down to Florida?
That is absolutely. We're always looking to build. I'm a senior pastor, and so I have a lot of a lot of things on my schedule. I don't have the time to work to build the program like I wish I could.
For sure,
But
yeah.
that is distinctly word of mouth is still the best advertisement, and that's the goal. We just played a team yesterday, Parkview Christian out of Illinois. We played them last year
Right,
and
right.
really beat them. Yesterday we saw them coming in. They're a different program, and they made it close for almost a half. And I'm
Wow.
so proud of them. They just improved so greatly and gave us real good competition, good looks. And talked to their coach. He said he's highly interested in coming down there next year. And
There you go.
but he
Yeah.
said through playing them, they have several teams that they want to connect with us to play them as well, and they're always looking to build, always looking to build.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Coach, I appreciate you taking the time to join me. I'll let you get back to your film study, and looking forward to seeing y'all down in Florida, seeing what you do in the tournament.
Hey, great talking to you. Thanks so much for having us on. We can't wait. We're stoked, and we just consider it an honor to be able to come down there and compete and with a great bunch of kids.
Absolutely. I appreciate you, Coach, and we'll see you this weekend.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you. That's
Yep.
Coach Lale. That's Coach Lale Barkman from the Fort Wayne King Crusaders. Crusaders. All right. Let's go ahead and let's go over these other scores real quick that I did not get a chance to run through. Let's look at the HCAA, and of course they have a 2A and a 3A. I think I went over that last week on the show. So in the 2A division, let me see if I can get the brackets pulled up. In the 2A division, you had Claremore Christian and Cross Christian facing off. And Cross Christian got a big, I say a big win. Let me get the score pulled up. 38-6, big win for them. They are now 6-0. And then I'll talk about the other game. The other game, Southwest Christian Unity Christian did not happen. Unity Christian backed out of the game, so Southwest essentially got the forfeit win and a bye into the championship game next week. In the 3A division, Sunrise Christian 55, Abundant Life 7. We talked to Coach Charlie Rogers earlier this year from Abundant Life, but Sunrise, great team from Bel Air, Kansas, and they 8-1 on the season. Their only loss was to this team, Destiny Christian. They were taking on Crossover Prep, and Destiny with a 46-30 win. Of course, Destiny's only loss coming to a public school in Oklahoma. So this is going to be a fun one. Destiny and Sunrise. I mentioned this. Sunrise had only lost to Destiny this year, was their only loss. 28-22 was the final score. So that's in the 3A division. But in the 2A division, I mentioned Cross Christian got a win, and that's where I'm going to queue up my next guest.
Hello, this is Greg.
Joining me now is the head coach of the Southwest Christian Academy Lions. It's Coach Greg Ferguson. Coach, I appreciate you taking the time to join me.
Oh, anytime, man.
Well, Coach, how do you get your guys, or how do you keep them on track? Is there anything different you have to do? We went through the playoffs here just a second ago, and in terms of you guys getting the forfeit win, is there anything different that you have to do to get your guys, to keep your guys going, to get them ready for the game like you guys have on Friday night?
Yeah, I think last week for us, it was just focusing on the little things, just over film, watching things, and just really focusing on those little things that we don't do right. And so all last week, it was a little difficult not knowing, not really having an opponent, but
Yeah.
the goal was, hey, just let's focus on the little things. And we're a pass first offense, and so obviously timing is important.
Right.
So just keep running through our plays, keep throwing the deep ball, keep our timing on it, so that we get to Friday, that doesn't take a hit. So
Right. Now, Cross Christian being a team that you guys didn't play during the season, same conference, just a little bit different setup, but playing them for the first time, and it's not like it's just a regular season game; it's for the title. But playing them for the first time, what are some things that you and your staff could do or have done to get ready for a game like that?
Well, it's just getting our D line ready.
Right.
They're a run first offense. They like to run the ball. We haven't seen a lot of inside runs, and so it's just getting our defense ready for the isolation plays, dive plays, and just getting them ready. Because I think it may be a game that will, if we can just keep them from wanting to do what they want to do, I think we can have success. So it's just getting our D line ready for a little different game, because every team we played, they like to run outside. Cross, they want to run it right up the middle. So just getting those guys ready.
Now, obviously, they're from. How do you say the town they're from? Yucca.
Yeah, they're from Yucca.
Boom, nailed it, first try. Them being from Yucca, Oklahoma, and then of course you've got Destiny from Del City, and everybody knows 8-man is big in Oklahoma. So the game in Oklahoma, the game of 8-man, every state, I feel like every area is a little bit different. What are some things from playing teams from Oklahoma? What are some things that you've picked up on the game, the way it's played there,
Um,
as opposed to maybe how the game is played in Arkansas?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just Oklahoma. You never know; it's always going to be windy.
Right.
So I think that's the big thing for us. It's like it may be nice here, and then we get to Oklahoma. There's always wind there.
Well,
so,
and that kind of plays into last year. Was it Oklahoma or Kansas that the championship was at? Because you guys had a snowy championship.
yeah, that was in Shawnee, Oklahoma.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
There you go.
it got cold and windy.
Here we are in Florida, getting ready
Yeah.
for the national tournament. It's 70 degrees. It's pretty decent. We look over and we're like, what are you guys doing over there?
Exactly. Well, and that's the thing. So they played two championship games, the 2A at 5 and then the 3A.
Yeah.
And so that 2A championship, it was just cold and windy. And then by the time the 3A championship came around, there was snow all over the place. So uh, Oklahoma weather, you never know what you're going to get. So it's always going to be a little different.
It reminds me of a colder version of Tennessee weather. Just if you don't like
Yes.
the weather, give it 5 minutes, it'll change.
Well, exactly.
Yeah. Except here, it's going to rain. It'll
Yeah.
rain, or it'll be 30 degrees in the morning, 80 degrees in the afternoon. You never know.
Oh, yeah.
You never know.
That's true.
Guy, I want to give you a chance to talk about some of your guys. Obviously, some of them are seniors. They're going into their last game of their career this Saturday night, and so I want to give you a chance to talk about some of those guys, and maybe some that, like I said, maybe some that have been a leader, maybe some that you didn't expect to be a leader and they've stepped up this season. Some of those guys.
Yeah, I mean this senior crew is probably the most different crew because they've been with me the longest. They're the guys that when I said, "Hey, let's change the culture of the team," they were there.
Right.
So they decided to get in the weight room. They decided to change the culture, and so you know, I told them Friday they got 4 quarters of football left,
Yeah.
and so which is a little sad if you think about it,
Man, that's oh man, that's a
but
different way of
you
looking
know
at it.
it is, and so, but Andrew Tomaskovic, one of my senior linemen, he's been with me since 10th grade and never played football before, and so his 10th grade year he came out and he's played every position we've asked him to, and he's the you can hear you'll be able to hear him because he has the most distinct voice,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but he helps lead our linemen, and he may not. He's a D line as well. May not get all the tackles, but he's always in the play. He's always doing something. So people just feed off his energy that they give. Daniel Molina, one of my senior wide receivers, came out for the first time this year and has learned the game of football. And the kid doesn't stop running, and I got to tell him, hey, don't run all the way down the field every time, because we're at one game where he's like gassed, and
Yeah.
I'm like, stop running so much. So he's a kid that played soccer, so he knows how to run.
If you weren't
Uh,
doing 70-yard sprints every play, you wouldn't be gassed.
exactly,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so but he helps these guys, and by giving every play he's out there, he gives 100% and more, and people feed off that one. And obviously my quarterback Thomas Stewart, he's really a running back. We just talked him into playing quarterback. um, he didn't like the idea. He
Yeah.
just wanted to play running back and linebacker, but
Yeah.
we needed a quarterback, and he's been with me since 8th grade and even longer. But he's been just developing to be a leader every year, and so this year is special because he's more of a vocal leader than ever before, and just helping lead our team. I told him before the season started, I said, this team will go as far as you take them, and so we've had a lot of ups and downs on this season, but we're where we're at because of our leadership and our seniors, and our junior class is, I mean, they're a hardworking class as well. So
Yeah. Yeah.
with Dominic Ferguson, who's plays tight end / wide receiver, so we can kind of bring him in and split him out. He's coming to the fold and just has been a leader in that way, and just doing things that we need him to do. So
Now I want to switch gears a little bit. Obviously, you guys have the closer games. Your Abundant Life, your Arkansas Christian. Little bit easier on the travel, and then some teams complain about 2-hour rides. You guys, what's the longest you went this year? Other
uh,
other other than Tennessee?
well, we went to Tennessee. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
I don't. I think Tennessee may be the longest this year
Right.
because we played Destiny at home and then crossover prep. Oh no, we went to Missouri. Sorry, we went to play Cornerstone up in Joplin, Missouri. So that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
that was the furthest that we
Gotcha.
went this year.
No, we talked off air, obviously, about some changes that HCAA is thinking about making or is going to make, and kind of putting everybody together instead of having a split, the split divisions. Um, in terms of getting your schedule together for next year, how much easier does that make it because you're not having to try to pick and choose, who's going to play and who won't?
I think it makes it easier, ex, especially when you put all the Arkansas teams together,
Yeah, yeah,
and you can say, "Hey, you guys play all of play everyone," and so that's not too bad. And then the goal is to pick a couple of people in the other division. Hey,
right.
you got to play Destiny, you got to play crossover prep, which we already do. So that's not a big deal for us. But I think it's a little easier. Just just putting everything in conference stuff rather than trying to vote on everything, because voting doesn't always work.
Right, right. Well, there's a reason they moved away from the BCS,
Yes.
and it wasn't just the money.
Right.
Um, hey, obviously, eight man is getting big in Arkansas, and the Arkansas 8 man football guys on social media do a great job covering it in terms of the AAA and the way that they've adopted 8 man. Next year, do you think you guys get a chance to play any of those public schools, or is there any that kind of makes sense for y'all to play?
Yeah. This year we played Marshall, which is a public school that's 8 man, and
Right, right.
um, we played them for the first time, and yeah, I think if it makes sense for us, the battle that we face is just how many people we get put on a roster. So when we play our public schools, we got to make sure that everyone's 9th through 12th grade, and
Right.
sometimes we'll have 8th graders on the team, so they may not be able to play. But yeah, I think if it makes sense, I think you know this year I thought we'd have a little different team, so I scheduled Marshall, and uh, our team that showed up wasn't the team I was expecting, so that was a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
surprise.
Oh yeah, oh
but
yeah.
but I did tell them after that game, after we're getting beat pretty good, I said, guys, you'll look at this and you'll say thank you for putting a tough schedule on the team.
Right, right.
um, but yeah, I think we're open to it. We got several coaches that we tried to work through last year. We just couldn't find a time. So, we'll stay open to that.
Well, and it might be a little bit harder if you're able to pick up a few more, a few more conference games as well.
Yeah.
But it might work out too because with you guys getting to play some of the tougher opponents. Obviously Destiny's playing for their title on Friday night as well.
Hmm.
So, obviously I got some good teams on there. Want to ask you about Cross switching back to the championship that you guys play Friday night at 5. Um, in terms of Cross, according to Max Preps, and I don't know if this is accurate, they've only played 5 games this year. They had the forfeit win over Cornerstone Spartans, so they're 5-0 in technicality. Um, and then they just got the playoff win last week against Claremore Christian. Do you think that maybe gives them an advantage, or does it help y'all in terms of them? They've only played a few games, so they're not as banged up, but they also haven't had the full experience to kind of bond as a team. Possibly, you think that works in your advantage, or you think that's something you guys are gonna have to work through?
No, I think it works in our advantage. I mean, if you look at it, you could say a team that plays 5 games probably has the advantage.
Yeah,
But our
yeah,
season has been so up and down, and we have learned. I mean, we went from having a playbook to I think week 4 getting rid of the playbook, putting a new playbook in, like just trying to figure out who we have as a team. And so, some of those hard losses that we've had have really helped the team come together. And I believe that having 9 games, having what I guess that's a few extra games more,
yeah,
is going to
yeah.
help us in the long run because we know who we are as a team. We've had the adversity of playing teams that are out of our league, and we bonded through that, and now we're coming out just ready to fire on all cylinders. And so, we started peaking right about, you don't want to peak too early, you don't want to peak too late, but we started coming together. I think right after the Lancaster game, we just
Right.
had a good moment in the locker room after getting our butts kicked, going, "Okay, guys, what can we do different?" And everyone just said, "I can do this differently." And just we went around the the room and said, what can we change, and let's change it. And from that point, we've just been a little different team. We may not have won every game, but we've come out with a little bit more purpose and passion, and ready to take on. So I think overall it helps us more than playing less games. So
How big would this be for Southwest and for yourself and for these seniors to hold that trophy Friday night?
I think it'll be big. We haven't won a state championship since 2012, and
Wow.
so it's been a while. My senior class, they went to the state championship their 10th grade years, so and we got beat by Claremore pretty good.
Yeah.
So I think they're ready. They're ready to. We've gone through everything. We've had the highs and lows. We've been to the state championship. We've lost the state championship. So at this point, it's like, okay, let's just do what we do, and ball out, have a great game, and just see what happens. And so I always tell our guys, we win as a team, we lose as a team, but when we play as a team, I think we have a better chance of winning. So I think we're ready to go, and we're just ready to get to Friday, I guess,
For
at this
sure.
point.
How long of a drive do you guys have to get there Friday?
It's about 4 hours and 18 minutes.
Oh
So
man.
yeah.
Do you teams in the South hear that? Okay, there you go. 2 hours, and it's like, oh man, it's such a drive. It's really
Yeah.
not. It's really not, man. Go play in the Midwest. I like asking every coach this question, and I'm not, I'm gonna ask you, when you look at next year in your season, obviously your schedule. Hopefully, you guys will have a few more of these conference games to play. You've got the public schools there in Arkansas. I don't know why I just said it like that. Arkansas. I put the anyways. But do you see anybody? Do you look out there and see anybody that you go? Obviously, you guys got a cool experience to play Lancaster Christian this year.
Mhm.
But is there anybody that you see that you go? I really would like to take a shot at this team.
Uh, I feel like if I ever say that, I'm going to
Or
have a
is it,
shot
or is
anyways.
it maybe a chance of, hey, we want to get Sunrise on the schedule or somebody like that?
I mean, hey, maybe we're just glutton for punishment. We always tell our guys we're going to go anywhere. We'll go anywhere and play anybody. So, um, I mean, if the opportunity comes, we'll play whoever. But I don't really have anyone that I'm trying to get on. Like, hey, this would be a good one.
Because
It's
this
just
was your chance to call your shot right here.
it was it
Yeah,
was. I
yeah.
really, I just live just one day at a time. And hey, if a team calls, we'll talk. I mean, that's kind of
Fair enough.
that's kind of how Lancaster happened.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
hey,
yeah.
okay, we'll swap film, and does this make sense for both of us? And it did. So,
There you go.
um,
There you go.
but yeah,
Well, fair enough, Coach. I appreciate you taking the time to join me, and man, good luck Friday night. Hopefully, there's a way to watch that game, and looking forward to seeing y'all. Hopefully, at least doing well. I'm not going to jinx it for you, so we'll say at least hopefully doing well
yes,
Friday
sounds
night.
good.
I appreciate you, Coach. We'll see you.
Appreciate you guys. Yep, bye.
All right, we'll see you. It's Coach Greg Ferguson from Southwest Christian. I just now realized. There you go. There you go. Coach Greg Ferguson there on the screen. That was not Coach Barkman. That was earlier. All right. I missed that. Oh, well. All right. Let's go to. I know we did not get a chance to go through the games, of course, all playoff games that were happening in 8-man football. But we'll do that in a second. Right now, I want to take the opportunity and I want to give a big thank you to Mr. Hank St. Dennis, the NHSA, for allowing us to debut the bracket here on Extreme Talk for this weekend. Obviously, if you're on one of these teams or you're kind of in the circle, you may know who's going to go play in Florida. If you're not, then you really don't know. And so this is a really cool opportunity, and I want to give a big thank you to Mr. Hank St. Dennis, the NHSA. I'd like to give a thank you to Mr. Scott Matthews for putting this graphic together. He's done a great job with the graphics all season. And without further ado, you're going to see it on your screen. Make sure we're good. All right, you're going to see it on your screen right now. So there is your NHSA National Championship Tournament bracket. And there on the left, you'll see all the different teams competing in this year's tournament. The Evangel Christian School Lightning, the 5-time defending champions. The Pack Panthers out of the SIFA there in South Carolina. The Tennessee Heat from here in Tennessee coming out of the Southeastern Extreme Conference. Evangel Christian coming out of the ACSC there in Alabama. And then the Fort Wayne Kings Crusaders coming out of Indiana as an independent team. And we are very honored to be broadcasting every game this weekend. Of course, Spencer will return to the booth, and we'll have some color commentators along with him. I'm not going to spoil who those are, but you guys will enjoy listening to these men. They're a lot of fun. But very honored to broadcast all these games. So as you can see, on Saturday at noon, we will have the kickoff for the first game. It'll be the Tennessee Heat and the Pack Panthers. First ever matchup between the Heat and the Panthers. And it'll happen in Florida. And then following that game, either following it or at 3 o'clock, It will be the Fort Wayne Kings Crusaders. They will be taking on the Evangel Christian School Lightning in the second game of the semifinal round. So again, those two games happening on Saturday. Both first-time matchups, and I know the last couple years it's kind of been a struggle to get some first-time matchups. It's been some teams that have kind of played each other. But really cool situation this year. Obviously, Tennessee Heat have played Evangel Christian before, but other than that, none of these matchups have ever happened. So really cool situation there in Florida. And, of course, the games will not be played in PCB at Pete Edwards Field this year. It will be moved to Vernon Football Field there at Vernon High School. They're in Vernon, Florida. And so a little bit north of PCB where everyone's staying at Laguna Beach Resort. For the most part, everybody. So those games will be happening on Saturday, November 11th. And then on Monday, November 13th, we will have the, actually at 12 o'clock, we'll have the consolation game between the team that loses game 1 and the team that loses game 2. And that game will happen at 12 on Monday. And then at 3 o'clock, we'll have the kickoff for the NHSA National Championship game. And it'll be the winner of game 1 and the winner of game 2. So very, very excited to see these teams match up this weekend and these games. Looking forward to it. It'll be a lot of fun. And congratulations and kudos to the NHSA for getting these teams put together for this tournament this weekend. And then for these teams, jumping in there and taking on this challenge. Got to give massive kudos to them. There's a lot of teams that aren't doing it and would not do it, and you hate to see that, but it is what it is. So I'll pull that back off, and I'm sure the NHSA will release that on their Facebook page here in a little bit. But another big thank you to Mr. Hank St. Dennis for allowing me to debut that here on the show. Really appreciate that, and a big thank you to Mr. Scott Matthews for getting that graphic put together. All right, let's talk about, obviously, the games that had their championships played. Their seasons are over in terms of conference play. You do have these teams that are going to Florida. I believe the TSIAA, their seasons are just done because none of their teams are going to Florida. Same for the CFA. None of those teams are headed down. The CACEL out of Louisiana, they're done. And so let's go to North Carolina. Let's talk about the NCISAA. This weekend, you had the semifinal round of the playoffs. Let me get it pulled up real quick. There we go. All right. Quarterfinals. No? Yeah, quarterfinals. My apologies. So, quarterfinal round of the playoffs. Wayne Christian, they were hosting Lawrence Academy, and the Eagles come away with a 70-26 win. So, Wayne Christian will move on, and they move to 10-1 on the season. Congratulations to Lawrence Academy on a great season and making the playoffs. Faith Christian, they were hosting Arundel Parrott Academy, and Faith Christian got the win, 46-24. Two teams that were just better than 500, and so Faith Christian, I believe they are the Eagles as well. Let me double check that. See if I can get the pulled up real quick. Nope, they are the Patriots. So Faith Christian out of Rocky Mount, North Carolina, they will move on, and they will face Wayne Christian this Friday night in the semifinal rounds of the NCISAA playoffs. JP2, they were at Rocky Mount Academy Friday night, and the Rocky Mount Academy Eagles, 22-15 win over JP2. The Saints, their season is done, and Rocky Mount Academy moves to 9-2 on the season. Congratulations to JP2 on a great season. But very interesting. Arundel Parrott and JP2, two teams that played for the championship last year. They are out in the first round. So a lot of parity there in the NCISAA, and you love to see these teams get better and stronger throughout the different seasons. Last playoff game that happened was Halifax Academy. They were hosting Cary Christian. Of course, we saw them in North Carolina earlier this season in August, taking on Evangel Christian. Halifax Academy, the Vikings, 67-28 win over Cary Christian. And so Halifax Academy will move on, and they will go on the road to Rocky Mount Academy. So Rocky Mount at 9-2, Halifax at 9-0, and then you have Wayne Christian. They are hosting Faith Christian. Let's see, Rocky Mount. No, it's Rocky Mount at Halifax. I apologize. Rocky Mount at Halifax, and then Wayne Christian at Faith Christian at Wayne Christian. Yes, it's all messed up. It's all kind of messed up on there on Max Preps. But Faith Christian 6-3 on the season, so they are the lowest seeded team remaining in the playoffs. Halifax Academy 9-0, Rocky Mount 9-2, and then Wayne Christian 10-1. So that's what's going on in the NCISAA playoffs. We talked about the Heartland Christian playoffs. Let's go to the Kansas Christian Athletic Association, and they had a couple playoff games over there. Let me get this one pulled up. The KC East Lions, they were on the road in Wichita, Kansas, to take on the Wichita Warriors. And what a barn burner. Warriors 64, Lions 63. So congratulations to KC East on a great season. It's a tough loss for them, but Wichita Warriors, they move on. I'm sorry, it's the Kansas Association, the KASC. Trying to figure out what that acronym stands for. Let's see. A Kansas Approved Schools Championship. Okay, so let's back up. So this is happening at Kansas Wesleyan University. Nope, that was last year. Well, maybe that's a different setup. Last year, it was the KASC, Kansas Approved Schools Championship, a 14 playoff of Kansas State High School Athletic Association approved 8-man programs who weren't eligible to participate in the organization's state bracket for member schools. Okay, so I believe it still is the KCAA. Yeah, KCAA, Kansas Christian Athletic Association. There you go. So it is the KCAA Championship. So it'll be played between the Wichita Warriors, and then the other playoff game that happened was Life Prep on the road against the Manhattan Eagles, and the Eagles came away with a 78-32 win. So Wichita Warriors and Manhattan Eagles will play for the KCAA Championship on Saturday. Yeah, on Saturday. And they did play earlier this season, and it was it was with the Wichita Warriors getting the 36-22 win over the Manhattan Eagles. So this should be a fun one to watch on Saturday. We'll have to see what time kickoff is. Maybe there's a way to watch it. We'll look into that, and if there is a way, we'll share it on social media. So very excited to see that one. Let's see. Let's run through these quickly. Friday night, or I'm sorry, on Saturday. Well, let's back up on Thursday. Over in Virginia, Brunswick Academy 84-14 over Kinston Forest. On Friday, Broadwater Academy over Blessed Sacrament Huguenot 20-7. And then on Saturday, Christ Church School, and so that makes it to where Brunswick Academy at 12-0 and Broadwater Academy at 6-4. They will play on Saturday in the playoffs. Let me see if I could find a bracket for their playoffs. Yep, there we go. Brunswick Academy. There we go. Okay, so this is the Division II playoffs. So Brunswick Academy over Kinston Forest, Broadwater over Blessed Sacrament Huguenot. So Brunswick and Broadwater, they will play Saturday at 3 o'clock for the VISFL Division II Championship. And then let me find on Saturday, a couple games played. Virginia Episcopal School hosted Rappahannock County. 52-20 win for Virginia Episcopal. Christ Church School at 6-1, and Virginia Episcopal is 9-0. Christ Church School 65-35 win over Covenant. So they will play next Saturday as well. Let me get their bracket pulled up. They are out of Christ Church, Virginia. Christ Church School and Virginia Episcopal. They are coming out of Lynchburg, Virginia. So Virginia Episcopal and Christ Church School will face off for the Division I championship on Saturday. They did play earlier this year, and it was Virginia Episcopal who was 9-0, getting the 28-18 win over Christ Church School. So that game will be played also on Saturday. And it does not have a time on it, but I would assume possibly after the championship, the Division II championship. We'll have to see. Let's see. Let's run through the GAPPS real quick. In the GAPPS in single A, you have Peachtree Academy 18-14 win over Praise Academy, and Trinity Christian School of Griffin with a 58-8 win over Cross Point Christian. And so they will face each other next week, next Friday. Let me see, where's Holy Ground? That's right, Holy Ground and Vidalia Heritage got buys this week. So next week, Holy Ground will host Trinity Christian School of Griffin, and Vidalia Heritage will host Peachtree Academy. And of course, next week we'll give you the results of those games, and we will preview the championship game between whoever wins. Let's go to the SCISA Skisa. They're in South Carolina. Jefferson Davis 51-6 win over King Academy. Get it pulled back up. There we go. Holly Hill Academy 69-22 win over Lawrence Academy. Holly Hill at 10-1 on the season. Richard Wynn Academy and Holy Trinity do not have a score reported. And then Wardlock Academy 42-8 win over Faith Christian. So next week, Wardlaw Academy and Holly Hill Academy will face off at Holly Hill. Holly Hill 10-1, Wardlaw 8-3, and then Jefferson Davis at 10-2. They will face whoever won Richard Wynn and Holy Trinity. Let's go to Skeesa's website. Let's see if the results are on there. So they have not updated their bracket. Let's see if we can get a score for Richard Wynn, Holy Trinity. Let's see. Doesn't look like I see any scores reported. So I'll try to update you on that next week on the show. Last one to go through is going to be the GISA. They're in Georgia as well. Holy Spirit Prep. 37-12 win over John Hancock Academy. Westminster Schools of Augusta 69-0 over Crisp Academy. Windsor Academy win over Westminster Christian 51-6, and then David Emmanuel 38-18 winner over Westwood. So next Friday, David Emmanuel will be on the road to take on Westminster Schools of Augusta. I'm sorry, that's the other way around. Westminster Schools of Augusta will be at David Emmanuel Academy. Westminster Schools of Augusta at 9-1. So not sure why they're on the road, but David Emmanuel Academy at 7-2. And then you will also have Holy Spirit Prep at 9-1. They will be at Windsor Academy, who is 8-2 on the season. So we'll keep you updated on those games as well. And I'm trying to think if I forgot to do anything, but I think that covers just about all the bases. One more time, here is the bracket for the NHSA National Championship Tournament down in Florida this weekend. Tennessee Heat Pack Panthers, Saturday at noon. You'll have Fort Wayne Kings Crusaders at taking on the Evangel Christian School Lightning. That'll be at 3 or following game 1. And then you will also have on Monday the losers of those two games. And then at 3 o'clock, you'll have the winners of those two semifinal games playing for a national championship. And a lot of first-time matchups. Only 2 of these teams have played each other before. All these other teams, it's going to be first-time matchups. Love to see it. And obviously, like I mentioned, we'll have all the broadcasts. We'll be broadcasting all 4 games this weekend. And then on next Sunday, we will have our annual live version of Extreme Talk from the Promised Land Sanctuary. And it's always fun to kind of do a live version of the show, have a live audience. The 2 coaches that'll be playing for the championship, we will have them we'll have them on the show with a player and kind of talk to them and pick their brain a little bit, have a little bit of fun with it. So, other than that, I think that does it. I think that just about does it. I want to give a big thank you to Coach Lael Barkman from Fort Wayne's King Crusaders and to Coach Greg Ferguson for joining me from Southwest Christian Academy. Good luck to the Lions Friday night playing for the HCAA Division 2A Championship. And then, of course, we'll see Coach Barkman and the Fort Wayne Kings Crusaders when they take on Evangel Christian School the Lightning on Saturday. That'll just about do it for Extreme Talk, presented by Complete Real Estate, where experience and integrity matters. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching the games this past weekend. Go watch them. We're going to leave them up on YouTube. Go watch some football. Go watch some good football. You're going to have some more good football this weekend. See ya!